Father Simon and the Jedi Council of Forgiveness.
Oh, best yet.
Following the confession by the guy who went to see the midnight showing of The Last Jedi when he should have been with his pregnant wife. This is from a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
It was a corker. I've been inspired to confess my own Star Wars-related saga. This goes back to the year 1999, a year any Star Wars fan will remember well and perhaps even try to forget. At the time, I was working in Los Angeles as a landscape architect and botanist, both teaching and practicing. My work took me all over the States, but the main focus was California. As well as designing landscapes, parks and public open spaces, I was also very fortunate to work with A-list celebrities.
Here we go.
Designing the external environment of their properties. One of my clients was a film producer, and following a successful presentation to him one day, we were just finishing a celebratory lunch when he asked if I would like tickets to the LA premiere of Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. Now, at this point, Father Simon, you need to understand how much of a Star Wars fan I am. I was 10 years old when my parents took my brother and I to see the original film at the Dominion Theatre in Tottenham Court Road, London. I sat down with a small box of popcorn in my hands, and then it started. The sound of the Imperial Star Destroyer travelling right over my head, chasing a cruiser with Princess Leia and the Death Star plans on board. And I was hooked from that very moment. And I didn't move an inch for the whole film. In fact, when the movie finished, I still had the small box of popcorn in my hands. My mouth was wide open. I hadn't eaten a thing. Now, 40 years on, I am still just as psyched to see the new films, so you can imagine my excitement when I was offered tickets to see the premiere of the first new Star Wars film in 16 years. I was told that the event was black tie. Then it was further explained to me that all the cast and so will be there on the red carpet with the press and all the pomp and the ceremony. Wow. Father Simon, my excitement just went into the stratosphere. Not only would I be seeing the film, but also I might have the opportunity to see Liam Neeson, Samuel L. Jackson, Natalie Portman and everyone, although probably from a distance. The following day, a limo was sent to pick me up from my hotel, and as I sat in the car with a massive grin on my face, I could barely contain myself. The limo then entered a queue of other stretch limos, and up ahead I could see people getting out. The flashes from the press cameras went berserk, and spotting a couple of the big names, I shouted out in the car with excitement. I could add at this point that I was there as well with a bunch of competition winners, but
yes.
I don't think that's relevant to the actual story, but I was there.
You were there, yeah.
Wow. However, my excitement soon turned to worry when it dawned on me that my driver was taking me to the red carpet to be dropped off, and not the alternative door for non-celebs that I'd been instructed to go to. I tried to get the attention of the driver, pressing every button I could see, but nothing was happening. By the time I finally got his attention, it was too late. The car had pulled up by the red carpet, so I had a dilemma. Father Simon, I knew what I did next was wrong, but in my defence, I simply got swept along with excitement. I got out and I smiled and I waved. Hi! Happy to be here.
Yeah,
hi. It's like a scene from Austin Powers, smiling, waving, pointing at people as if I knew them. That's a great trick. Well done. I was getting away with it too until the worst thing happened. An attractive young lady smiled at me. Just as I was working out how to start up a conversation, she thrust a microphone in my face and began to ask questions about the film. Hi, Jane Thompson, CNN. How was the film? What was it like working with Ewan McGregor?
And you wouldn't do a Geordie last night, but you're happy with that, are you?
Whatever.
Okay.
Was that you and Gregor?
Well, that's the way the Americans would say it, you see. That was very clever of me, I think.
Yes, it was.
The thing I should say is that Ewan McGregor was actually standing a few metres away from me while this question was being shouted at me. I'm not sure if she thought I was someone else, but I managed to fumble through an answer before moving on. Unfortunately, another microphone was then pushed into my face, and another barrage of questions, this time about Samuel L. Jackson. Well, I just had to make up stuff. Yes, he's a fantastic guy, a great help to me always, and an inspiration on set. That's the gist of what I was saying. What a guy, you gotta love Big Sam, I said, and then walked away. I don't know if you can call Samuel L. Jackson Big Sam, but I did it anyway. Not wanting to be accosted again, I made a direct route to the door. But unfortunately, the US press have a ninja-like skill for appearing from nowhere. And before I knew it, yet another microphone was pushed in my face. Yeah, hi, I'm happy to be here still. Despite my initial reluctance in my head, I was now an old pro at this. But just as I started to get into a yarn about me being one of the Naboo fighter pilots and how exciting it was being part of a bigger team, and how really, if you know your Star Wars, the amphibian Gungans were the real stars. Gotta love a big Gungan.
Gotta.
Caught the eye of the officials. They were pointing in my direction. They had a look that said, "Who the heck is that guy?" Which I took as my cue to make a hasty exit towards the doors and rush inside to my seat. I think I only signed half a dozen autographs on the way, and I believe I wrote, "May the Force be with you always," and then an illegible scribble. So it could have been Ewan McGregor, or it could have been Samuel L. Jackson. Who knows who it could have been? Could have been R2-D2. Who knows? I'll confess that the feeling of being rumbled at any time meant that I couldn't really appreciate the next 136 minutes. And when it was finally time to leave this event, I made sure to use the correct door. I'm not sure my nerves could have gone through all that again. I don't even remember being upset by Jar Jar Binks. Wow, imagine that. Yeah. You're the only one there, Dr. Simon. I would like to beg forgiveness, not to the press as, let's face it, they're a bunch of Muppets, nor to the... Nor to the producer that gave me the tickets, as he was none the wiser. But I do seek forgiveness from the genuine movie stars of the show for stealing some of the limelight whilst making others believe that I was part of the movie. It wasn't something that I set out to do, but simply a die-hard Star Wars fan that got carried away with all the excitement of the evening. I stand before you all and wait to see if I have to fall on the lightsaber of shame. Thank you, Dr. Simon G. A genuine issue. There you are. You're dropped at the red carpet. Do you bustle round in embarrassment, or do you just claim to be someone super famous? Sister Bobby.
It's well, I think there just must be the luckiest Star Wars fan out there, Dr. Simon. So well done. I'm really pleased for you, actually. That is rather lovely. The things about the red carpet is they divide it in two. So you've got a kind of two lanes. You've got the insignificant lane, then you've got they divide into two. So it's very easy to go in the wrong lane. So that's not your fault. And also, basically, the limos were in traffic, and you just have to keep moving. So you didn't really have a choice.
You know a lot about this.
I've stood on that red carpet. Yeah, it's scary. Anyway, but the other thing is you had no choice but to do this. It's the only way. And also, all the press would have been going for the stars, so you'd have been the warm up. So I think you actually fulfilled a service to train up all the journalists to be on it. And let's face it, all the journalists and presenters that were there needed to be on it and know who they were talking to. So it's fun. I think nothing lost, and well done, and I hope you just had the best time ever.
Jane Thompson, CNN, did actually sound like that. That was
really?
a pretty good impression.
No.
Anyway, Novice, what do you make of all that?
Well, having been through a very similar dilemma myself before, halfway through an interview with an Australian film company, I realised that they thought I was a very famous chef, which of course I am. But as in Jason Atherton. And I know Jason very well, so I thought, well, let's carry on and just do it as him. So I did.
So you pretended to be Jason Atherton all the way through?
And then it was filmed in Australia, and a friend of Jason said, you were on telly last night, you were very good, but it wasn't you. And he said...
And it was a rubbish shirt you were wearing.
And I had confessed to Jason Atherton I'd done it, and he said, no, someone else normally does my interviews, so it was very good. So in this case, Dr. Simon, for that very reason, absolutely forgiven, improvised brilliantly.
Right. Brother Matthew.
I have been one of those bunch of Muppets as to having to do the interviews on the red carpet. And frankly, you're just happy when anyone stops. When any of them stop, you're talking to I don't care who you are. They're brilliant. What do you think of the film? Great. What was it like working on the film? Great. Lovely. Next. So that's the reason why you got stopped. So actually, no one loses out on this at all. And frankly, if we all remember that film, that was probably the highlight of your evening, because it
wasn't great.
No taxation of trade routes, no thanks.